Okay, here's the secret. The magic isn't in the plan itself. The magic can't be found in you putting in 15 hours of work once every 2 weeks. The magic can't be found in you using fancy study apps or using 1,000,001 different textbooks that you bought because you thought that your original textbook isn't very good. And I know that's very specific, and that's because I have done it myself. The real magic, it's in closing the gap between your fear and your action. Now, let me break it down to you. Fear isn't your enemy. If you fear failure, that is good. It means you actually care about what you're doing. But here's the problem. Most of you are letting that fear squash you instead of fueling you. You might be sitting there, maybe even watching this video, and your head is spinning over all the things that you could do or should be doing during this time so that you can improve in your grades or whatever it is. And you're asking yourself, what if I'm not enough? What if I can't do this? Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? You're wasting precious time. Instead of you worrying 24/7, why don't you actually use that time when you're worrying into doing the actual work? The truth is, as soon as you start taking action, even the tiniest step, you will be able to do even more. It's a really interesting psychological technique because when you just sit down on your desk, it's like compartmentalizing. As soon as I sit down on this desk here, which is my study room, I will automatically feel like I'm studying. And if you've watched my other videos before, I always say I have this one particular pen. As soon as I touch this pen, I will automatically feel like I need to study. And that's because I've associated myself with using this pen when I'm doing something productive. Kind of like tricking your brain into something small like that in order to actually trick you into doing something that you don't want to do initially. When you pause this video later, when you're done with this video later, just sit on your desk, use a particular pen that you absolutely enjoy using, and start doing like one question or read like one paragraph of your textbook. Trust me, you will continue from then on. The second you start doing even the smallest step, the fear will actually shrink over time. Just remember, every hour that you spend sitting there being scared of your studying or being scared of not getting the grades that you want is an hour you could have actually used to study. That's just the truth of it. You're overthinking it. You need to stop overthinking it. I know that's so much easier to say than actually do, but you really need to just do it. Like, the only reason why I was able to do it is because I'm delusional, is because I thought I could actually do it, and I believed that I could actually do it. I didn't even overthink a single bit. There isn't a single part of me that doubted if I could do it or not, because I was delusional. And I was just like, you know what? If I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. At least I gave it my best. And that truly bridged the gap between fear and action for me, because I stopped being scared of not getting the grades that I wanted. I truly just prioritized loving the learning aspect of it. You don't need to have a grand gesture. You need to have momentum. So you're going to start small, and here's what you're going to do. I even wrote this down so that I don't forget, because I really wanted you to do this. So firstly, you want to pick one topic, not 5, not 3, just one topic. Open your notes, pick up the book, and dive in. Then you're going to set a timer. You can use a Pomodoro timer. I use 25/5. It doesn't really matter. But let's start with something small. Let's start with setting it up for 10 minutes first. Just 10 minutes, do the work, and then push it to 20. You'll realize that afterwards you start building the momentum. Once you start doing 20, you can then do 30. After 30, you can do 50. Of course, with some breaks in between, but not too long. You want to focus on the progress, not the perfection of it, because perfection is not going to get you anywhere. There's no such thing as the perfect study technique or the perfect study, the perfect student, whatever it is. There's no such thing as perfection. What you want is progress. Keep that in mind. And if you haven't realized by now, the magic is in the doing. It's nowhere else but in the actual doing. Your consistency, your willingness to put in the time and effort to do something. That is where the magic is. Everyone always thinks like, oh my God, you're so smart. You get good grades. You went from an E to an A star. You're so smart, blah, blah, blah. I'm not. I really am not. I don't care if you're like, wow, she's actually so smart, blah, blah, blah. She's lying. She's being humble. I am not. I truly am not smart. I am consistent. I am disciplined. I look for progress. I don't look for anything else. The magic is in me when I'm doing my flashcards for 5 minutes a day. When I start doing something, when I just sit down on my desk, that's where the magic is. It's literally me doing small actions in order to tackle the bigger actions. You win when you start to tell yourself, yeah, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyways. That is when you win. That is when you actually figure out that All of this, everything people have said so far about studying blah blah blah, about these techniques, that technique, you will realize that all of it is quote unquote fake. Yes, of course they work, but if you're not going to be consistent about it, it's never going to work. Once you start being consistent about it, trust me, you will see your grades skyrocket. Bullying yourself into success can actually work. I get it, it sounds really harsh, but trust me, I've done it myself and it really works well for me, especially after hearing what everyone says about me when they're like, oh, you can't do it, you're not able to be a chemical engineer, you're not going to be able to get that grade that you want, you're just going to be nothing in the future. Reminding myself that constantly and bullying myself with those thoughts constantly actually made me a much stronger person and ended up doing so much more than I thought I could even do. The reason why you feel bad every single time you're feeling lazy is because you want better for yourself and you are not putting in the effort in order to be that person for yourself, which then causes you to procrastinate even more. It's just a whole cycle. Once you realize what that cycle is, you can break out of it, and the only way to do that is to bully yourself out of it. Well, probably not the only way, but one of the ways to do that is to bully yourself out of it. You're mad because deep down you know that you are capable of even more. This frustration is energy, so why aren't you using that energy and channeling it in order to do a lot more in your studies, in your life, etc, etc. You need to use that energy and force yourself out of bed, onto your desk, and do the work. I think anxiety gets a really bad rep when in reality you could actually use this as a tool, and I completely understand how you feel. I've been there. I've been anxious by myself for my university exams, for whatever exams I need to do. I have been there. I know that feeling. But why don't we take a positive outlook out of this? Are you spiraling? Are you overthinking? Good. That means you care about what you're doing. Anxiety is your body's way of saying, hey, this matters. It's a signal that your body is giving you instead of it just being a sentence. When you start to panic, you want to use that moment to refocus on what it is that you're actually doing. Now, I feel like a lot of people will automatically assume, okay, I know this feeling I have now is being anxious, blah, blah, blah. Let me channel that energy and do something productive. And then they want to do something like literally climb a mountain or something like that. You don't have to go that big of an extra mile. Just do something small, like plan your day, write it in your diary, something small that makes you feel productive, or at least will set you up for success for the next following days. Anxiety, when you manage it right, can actually be the spark that will get you to where you want to be. Now let's do a big final push. I need you to do something right now. I want you to look at your schedule, grab your book, and just start. Because nobody is going to come and save you. It's not a superhero movie. You know what? You're not even a victim. You're not being a victim right now. And I don't want you to be a victim in this. You are going to be an academic weapon. You're going to have that academic comeback. So don't wait for somebody else to save you. You're going to save yourself, okay? This is your race. You're going at your own pace. It's your shot. It's your time. You are the one on stage. You are the main character in this. You don't want to give that platform to somebody else. Be the person that actually brings you out of this. You are your own hero if you want it to be. You want to stop scrolling. Stop complaining. That's the main thing. Stop complaining about all of this. You are making excuses out of everything. You will come up with a lot of excuses. Trust me, I was there. I did as well. Once I put up a schedule, once I start studying, my mom's gonna tell me to help her with cooking or something like that, and then it's gonna destroy my whole mood. It's gonna destroy my whole study session, and therefore I'm like, oh, fine, that's fine. I'm just not gonna study today. I'm gonna study tomorrow. There is no excuse. Even if you need to help your family doing something, if you need to go out, whatever, you can always fit even a little bit of studying a day. You don't have to do 15 hours a day, okay? Literally, I was doing an hour a day in university and I still get 95% plus in my exam. And I don't want anyone saying again, like, oh, it's just because you're smart. It's because you're smart. It's because you're this, because you're that. It's not. It's because I'm consistent. I don't care what I'm doing. I will always try to fit in a little bit of studying because that's discipline. It doesn't matter if I don't even actually get any of that information into my mind. It's the act of doing that will actually put me ahead of everybody else. Just me doing a little bit of studying, eventually I'll remember it. Even if I'm just blurting, literally, right, for chemistry in A-levels, at my flowchart for organic chemistry, I wrote that 100 times. I did that over a span of 2 weeks, and to this day, 8 years later, I still remember it in my mind. I can still see it, every path around it, because I was just doing it like kind of passively, kind of actively, and it's always in my mind to this day. The only way you're going to be able to do that is to start. That is it. If you haven't seen the toxic motivation video from the previous one where I actually tell you to get up and do the work, then make sure to watch that one first. But I hope that these actionable steps are actually helpful for you. Remember, the magic is in the doing. It's in nothing else but the doing. Now I'm going to tell you to do one more thing. You're going to like this video, share it with a friend who also needs a kick in the ass for this, and hit subscribe because I'm not done yelling at you in order to get you to do the work. So All the best, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!